Oh, you know what? I let me start off real quick with something that I sent to Spot a few weeks ago, and
Uh-oh.
let me. Where is it at?
Spot Daniel, the man that spreads more cheek. Hey, he's the man that spreads more cheeks than he does sheets. That's for sure.
So, Doug,
I don't know what his formula is.
let me go ahead and yeah, let me go. All right,
Sheets or
so let
cheeks?
me go ahead and play this shit for you because I felt all right. So you know how Spot swears like he's always been a straight dude, and then he just kind of got pushed over the edge recently, and now he's experimenting with all kinds of other shit. So
Yes.
I felt like this perfectly describes it. So let me play this bitch real quick. All right, it's comedian Chris DiStefano when he was on Rogan. So
Okay.
I think Jamie is comfortable with who he is right now. I think Jamie, if given a nudge, can be persuaded to have some experiences that he didn't understand that he wanted to have. That's what I'll say. Am I wrong about that?
So he's comfortable with who he is, which Spot was, right? But
Right.
if given a nudge, which he was gonna have some experiences that he didn't know he wanted to have. You know what I'm saying? So it's like saying like, what's up?
You know what? I got to interject.
All right, let's hear it.
Have you ever hung out with somebody or I don't know, you got into something and for a moment you were balls deep. Like it was the coolest shit in the world for a moment. And then like hella quick it wore off and then you just never did it again?
Like wearing like skinny jeans and shit, or yeah, okay, yeah.
No, I just anything. Maybe I don't know. You made your coffee a certain way, and when the first time you did it, it was just the shit, and you did it like that for a couple of months, and then
yeah,
you're like, you're over it.
yeah, a lot
Maybe
of
it's
shit.
the way you cook a steak,
Mhm.
right? Maybe it's the way you cook a steak. Maybe it's I shower before bed. No, I shower when I wake up. I don't know. Maybe you take a shit when you get up. No, maybe this week I'm gonna wait till I get to work. But have you did anything where you had like a routine, or maybe you discovered a food, or you're at the gym, right? You're gung ho about the gym, and man, a couple months later you never do it. So is he discovering something that is his true self, or is he in a phase when he's going through? He is 40 something years old, bro.
Yeah.
Let's face it. He's closer to death than he is the womb. And so is he going through? He already bought the Mini Cooper. So before phase 2, 3, and 1, he was already kind of going through some shit. He had the heart issue, which made him do yoga. And think about it, bro. Like the way he did yoga is the way he got to phase 3. Real quick, fast, and in a hurry. Right? He was in, and then before you know it, he's the instructor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's making out with chicks. Before you know it, he's taking pipe. I'm just saying he's going kind of fast these days. And I don't know. Is this his new lifestyle, or is it a fad? Is it a fad?
I think it's a lifestyle. I don't know.
You know what? Let's keep receipts on that, and we'll see. And what we're saying in a year and a half.
Yeah. I don't know, dog. I don't know because I feel like, yeah, I don't know. We will see. Time will tell, right?
Yeah. What do you feel? What you break it down for me?
I feel like that's just Spotty now. I kind of feel that's why I played this clip. I kind of feel like Spotty's always been in there, and after he got the nudge, he's kind of like, cool, this is what I like, right? So I feel like
I'm gonna call it out right now. Spot he just wants to feel wanted, bro. Like if you go back to old Spot when he's looking for a chick, and then when he finally found Kristen, Spot has always just been fighting for acceptance. And right now, with the shit that's going on with Kristen, I don't think he's. I mean, he appears on the outside that he's happy with the way things are going, but I don't know. I don't know if I truly buy that 100%. And I think if someone, probably at this point, man or woman, came along and just loved him for who he was and treated him the way that he was supposed to be treated, I don't personally think this activities even can go on if that's not what that person wants.
Yeah.
Because not everyone's going to be on the polygraph.
Did you have that one in your holster for a few weeks? Because it came out natural, but okay. And what about closer to death than closer to the womb? Because I never heard that shit before. So.
Nah, you didn't see IG fucking story yesterday?
Nuh-uh.
Bro, Eddie Murphy was on there and he just basically said if you think about it like this, the average person lives 75 years.
Yeah.
You get 75 summers, 75 winters, 75 spring.
Yeah.
And when you look at it like that, bro, 75 ain't a whole lot of time.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So you got to make good decisions with your time. Like you're here. I mean, he's probably happy exploring and he's getting to do a lot of cool shit that I'm sure he'll talk about for a really, really, really long time.
Yeah.
But it's my opinion that most individuals truly want to be loved and appreciated. And and I don't feel like Kristen's doing that, bro. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there. You can leave this for the Patreon. You can cut it out for YouTube, whatever you want. I won't get nasty about it. But I think she's too confused herself to love anybody. And so I think if someone came along and gave Spot that attention and love, I think he would do it on their terms.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of good points there because you know what though, even if I think Kristen was like, I'm fucking done with this, I think Spot would be like, okay. Because like you said, he's looking to be wanted. He's looking to be loved. So if Kristen's like, you know what, I'm fucking done, I feel like Spot wouldn't be like, I need a few more months of this. I don't think he would, because I think he wants that acceptance, that love, that to, I don't know. I just feel like I feel like you made a good point because there's a lot of, I think if you go like you try to psychoanalyze Spot and you think of how he was often like neglected and shit, and as far as like his brother was like a ladies man and he was a goofy kid with the Walmart sneakers.
But that's by choice.
Like,
but that's by choice.
What is?
Being a goofy kid. They just didn't have the courage to, and they got laughed at too many times, and they quit trying to hang out with cooler people because let's be honest, like we were all there. We've all went to a new school. We've all had a new class. We all started a new 4th, 5th, 6th grade. It's always a little uncomfortable. And some people don't handle that situation well. And they just kind of go to the group where they can dominate. Right? It's harder to get along with all the cool kids because everyone wants to be an alpha.
Yeah.
Right? He's just never been an alpha. And that's why when he does it on the show, it seems so unnatural because that's just not who he is.
You know what?
And I don't need to psychoanalyze him, bro. I'll tell you a little secret. It's pretty easy to figure shit out, right? What do spreadsheets and databases do?
Give you facts.
They track numbers.
Yeah.
They track numbers. And what do numbers usually do? They tell a good story and they usually repeat themselves.
100%.
I just watch, bro. I don't need to psychoanalyze shit. I just know the shit I've been seeing on display for the last 15 years.
Yeah, I'm just saying because I'm thinking he's always been. I feel like you made a good point because when he was a kid, he was like a little mama's boy, goofy, the baby, and was never accepted.
A pleaser.
Yeah,
he was a pleaser.
That's why, Doug. That's why they even call him Spot. Right? Because he was always following around the boss and trying to make a good impression and like a little dog, right? That follows you like a little puppy, like a little Theo, right? So
I think he was doing this. I think he was doing this. He was trying to sniff the boss.
Well,
that was phase 0.5.
I think, yeah. Years ago, right? The phases have been like coming in at half of a phase at a time, but I do think that's a really good point because it's kind of like always being not neglected. That's not the right word. Accepted, right? Never being accepted and always wanting to be, right? Always being friend zoned with the bitches, right? Always fucking whatever. And
third to Covino and Rich.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And that's why if you hear his voice, whenever he complains about they still do stuff and it's not fair to him, listen to the tone and the pitch. It brings back almost like a little kid complaining about something. And now he has a bigger voice and a bigger platform, but pay attention to that, dude. When he's saying something that Covino does this and they expect Spot to do that and stuff's not fair, listen to the pitch and the tone of his voice and the change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
It really, I feel like, I feel like you made a good point. We don't have to, spend too much time on it, but no.
I wish him the best.
But
I don't say that out of negativity. I just know what I see, man. But you know what? I got LASIK in '99, and it still works, and I can see through a peephole in the dark. My eyes never really tell. People's words bullshit me and lie to me all the time. My eyes rarely do.
Well, what I'm trying to say is like, I feel like that clip that I played for you really does make a lot of sense with him. It kind of always was there, but my favorite line in that was what he never knew he wanted, right? And I feel like he was always like kind of searching for something. And once he got kind of pushed over the edge, he kind of really did, fall into this new lifestyle that he never knew he needed. Maybe it crossed his mind, or who knows, but he never, until he actually jumped in, then he didn't even know that's what he wanted,
Well, even this, it depends on your stance and your opinion. And I have no judgment or stance or opinion. As long as he's safe and he doesn't catch something or whatever, I don't really care what he does. But depending on who you are, and I'm sure some of the listeners have one stance or the other, some people probably support this and some people think it's weird, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it's weird. I think he's being extreme about it. I think he's taken a little too far. I don't necessarily know if in today's society it's technically weird, but the way that, he rubs me the wrong way with the kind of the comments he makes about it. But at the end of the day, I think he's still searching. Like you said, he still doesn't know.
Yeah.
He'll get there.
Well, I don't know if you want to go on to something else, because I got something.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's up?
No, I don't have anything pulled up, but let's move on. It's time to time to burn rubber on that one.
All right. I have a question as far as like, how do you kind of a John Quinones, what would you do with when somebody hits you up with something and they're looking for a certain response, as far as like they want you to agree with them, but you don't? Do you just kind of like laugh it off, or do you just kind of like thumbs up their comment? Or because at the same time, dog, like I don't want to sit there and go back and forth with somebody saying this is why I disagree with you, because I really don't give a to be honest. So I'm like, cool,
then that's the judgment. Then it just depends how invested you are.
Yeah, because
if it's a friend that really needs your advice or your opinion, I think at least the friends in my life, I'm pretty blunt and straightforward, and I feel like if anyone that truly knows me in that level asks me for my opinion or my advice, they expect me to be brutally honest. I mean, not attacking honest, but just clear and upfront on why I agree or I disagree. Or they wouldn't ask.
No, I feel you. I really do. And I think when I was hit up, it was more it wasn't like you or fucking, if you would have told me something, I would have probably been a straight shooter and told you, hey, really?
Well, that's what I want.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
don't ever bullshit me. If I ask you a question, don't be a dick and like, stupid Cucuy, you dummy. Why would you don't do that? But like, give me your honest opinion, because why am I asking you if I don't really want it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and it's not even like they asked me for an opinion. They texted me with the comment, or they messaged me with the comment. I don't remember if it was on Messenger or Instagram or whatever, but it was a comment, and I was like, I was in the middle of something, so I was like, I don't want to go back and forth with this. Two,
no.
I know how they feel. I don't feel the same way, and I'm not as invested in. I really don't give a like, and there was just, so I was like, if that happens, say it's more of an acquaintance than like a fucking homie,
right?
What?
Maybe blow it off.
You blow it off, but I'm saying, how do you respond in the message? Do you just like their message? Do you fucking laugh? Do you?
It depends. How close are they? I mean, maybe you just don't have the energy, bro. Maybe it is someone you care about, but you don't have the energy.
Okay, it's just somebody from work that you're cool with. You talk to, you see them in the hallways, you bullshit, whatever. But
yeah,
it's not fucking Tip Dog. It's not Columbo, right? It's not. So
what
it's somebody.
What do they want? They just want your opinion on something you don't care about, or what?
Okay, so they just said something like give me a name of like a lady at work.
I don't have any ladies at work, but we'll just make one up. We'll call it Susanna.
Okay, Susanna, right? So say Susanna's not in your department, right? She's from another area or whatever, but they text you and they're like, man, in that meeting, Susanna made a couple of comments. I thought she was fucking off the wall, or she was fucking way off, or she was crazy or something. So for that, like, are you like LOL or fucking yeah, man, that's how you feel, or like,
No,
because I don't want to
I'm not.
just
You know
leave
what?
it.
No,
I don't want to just
because I've
leave
been
it.
no. I do it. No, I leave it all the time. You know why? Because when I'll be honest, and shout out Jenkins and my homie Jenkins and shit,
Yeah.
because he was the same way. And when you're in upper management in a union store, you can't comment on certain shit. You're just because it's evidence, bro. If they show somebody you sent it, you said it. If your feelings get hurt because you're trying to clickbait me into saying something that could go wrong for me in the future, shame on you. I mean, because the thing is, if you thumbs up or LOL, they're gonna do it more often. If you ignore, because what Jenkins did do, I'll give Jenkins this. Well, even with me, and I'm probably one of his best friends, and he would do that shit when it was regards to work. And you just learn that, hey, he's not going to get caught up in this bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I would text him shit and be like, whatever. There was this lady that we used to work with, and she looked like, if you Google Shaggy Dog on a skateboard, she looked like that Shaggy Dog. And we would talk shit in person all day long at work. But if I sent him the Shaggy Dog picture on the skateboard, he just wouldn't even respond, bro.
Yeah.
And if I asked him about it, he'd be like, yeah, that shit was hella funny, bro. But he was not going to respond even to one of his best friends and get caught up in bullshit. So I just would, if they ask you why you didn't respond, just tell them I'm not comfortable really, texting stuff like that about coworkers.
Yeah. I texted you something. So just to give you kind of a better idea. So
I'd ignore it.
yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
bro. I mean, because that's the best. We got to be better communicators, right?
Yeah.
And if we allow people to continuously send us shit that's not interesting to us, it's just going to be more frustrating to us. I'd rather tell you up front that I'm not into some of the shit that you're into. So you send those videos or pictures or whatever you got going to somebody else and your other buddies that are, and send me shit we can both laugh about that we both like. If you're a hardcore Star Wars guy and I'm not going to respond to your Star Wars shit. Or I'll be like, hey, bro, I don't really like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I got to deal with your fucking Star Wars text for the next 5 years. I'm good. And every time a movie comes out, here we go.
Yeah. What if it's pertaining to something you do dig? So say it's pertaining to fucking Mac Dre, right? And he knows you dig Mac Dre, and he digs Mac Dre. So you're like, he's like, hey, this fucking new Mac Dre song, because we're going back in the day, fucking sucks, right? You don't think it fucking sucks, but you kind of don't want to go back and forth. So
I politely in that situation, I would politely, especially if you were an Apple iPhone and your shit was blue, I'd shoot you a thumbs down on the fucking, I wouldn't even say nothing. I would just give you the fucking thumbs down.
Okay.
Because I've met Mac Dre and he's a cool motherfucker, and like he's so cool that even if you don't like some of his music, you go tell somebody else that he sucks, because I had like a business relationship with him and I was hella cool with them, and I'm just not even gonna entertain any of that shit. If you're gonna talk negative about Mac Dre, I'll shoot you the thumbs down right up front so you know where I stand. If you push it, I'll just keep pushing it back. I'll tell you something a little more up, and then if you want to push it, I'll just sooner or later I'll tell you to off.
Yeah, no, I feel you. But I mean, that was
that's
just
where I'm at. I don't want to tell people to off, but I have to clearly communicate. So we don't spend, again, back to those 75 summers. I don't want to talk to you about shit we don't both enjoy unless you just need me to listen and be a friend.
Yeah, no, right? I feel you.
Other than that, I'm that.
Yeah, because that's where I'm like, how do you, because I forget what I did, but I kept it short. I know that, so it's just like, do you, I don't know, it's just kind of, and it's like when they're always coming at you with like negative shit, you're like, fuck, like dog, be a little fucking, come at me with some positivity, like.
I got my own shit. I'm trying to block that shit out of my own mind. I don't got time to deal with someone else. You know what? And I don't really try to fuck with people like that, to be honest, because that shit's contagious, bro. And everyone has a little bit to some degree naturally. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to be a happy individual, you got to be around other people who view shit the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I feel
it just, again, 75 summers, bro. I'm not trying to even spend 10 of them up.
75 summers, dog. I think that's the name of this episode.
You know what I mean, though? You got 75 summers, brother. I don't want to have 3 that I was depressed if I can help it.
Yeah, no, I feel you 100%. That fucking that definitely
72 good summers.
It puts it into perspective, Doug.
And the first 6 you can't even remember.
Oh, you know what? Okay, I want to give you a chance to talk about something because, Doug, I'm gonna keep going off on shit because I have so much shit, Doug. My next thing says people are fucking morons. So let me see what you got. If not, I'll talk to you about some shit.
Shout out, and if you have the air horn fucking sound effect, insert now to Big Steve and Hortencia for their marriage. That's a milestone, and
Big
I mean
Steve.
that's role models for all of us, man, because we all know who they are. You know, we hear the stories.
Yeah.
And you know, they got a lot of kids and they got a lot of grandkids, and way to be good role models. And it's they didn't quit. They didn't quit on each other. And I think that's probably the best thing. Is I'm sure they all had their ups and downs and whatnot, but they never quit on each other. And you know, shout out to them. That's awesome.
Hell yeah. 100%. I feel like that's so fucking rare, Doug. And it's cool when you see like Steve and Hortencia in their fucking older days, right? And they're still together. And I think that just tells so many fucking, it says so much about Covino and Tommy and like the kids and how they are and how like
that's why they're solid.
How fucking like
that's why they're solid people.
It's crazy because you think of like Tommy will be like, nah, f that. Like even on Behind the Velvet Rope, I don't want to talk about that or whatever. He's like, mommy might see this shit, bro. He'll talk like Covino.
That's respect though. That's ultimate respect.
And it's funny because, you know, I think that really did shape a lot of their personalities, right? The kids, there's 5 of them. And I think,
and they're all successful.
I think, it really, I mean, Doug, now I'm going to psychoanalyze Covino and Rich because I feel like that's one reason why.
Shed one for a minute.
I think that's why Covino really cherishes shit, right? And like memories and you know, he has like his fucking VIP lanyards and shit. And that's why to Rich, things are really disposable, right? Throw shit away. And just like, I feel like.
Okay, well, hey, you got deep on that one, but I can't say I disagree.
You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like, and I'm not saying, I'm sure
there's no stability when you have split parents, because my parents didn't split, but every one of my friends did.
Yeah.
And a lot of times there was the stability, whether it was horrible or it was just shaky, the stability wasn't the same. And you adapt to change often, because when they split so young, then there's new ones on this side and a new man on that side, and then he's gone, and it's not the stability that they're used to. They're comfortable.
Yeah. No, 100%. You know what I mean? And that's where I think it stems from Rich, right. As a fucking kid. It's kind of like, well, fucking, let me see.
Well, even the one that just got the boot, his mom's fucking, what was that dude? They changed the number and jacked the cell phone. Like, you're way too old to be still playing those fucking games. And I think that she's probably been doing shit like that his whole life. And that leads to your point.
Yeah, no, that's where I'm kind of like, for real. I feel like it really does make perfect sense as far as from the beginning, right? Rich is a kid. It can and I hate to say I hate to say disposable.
I voted for the after show, but later today, bro.
I like it. I hate to say disposable because it sounds fucked up, but I kind of feel like if something when you're a kid and you're like, he was a teenager, like 12 or 13 or whatever the fuck it was, and they got divorced. Those are some very formative years, right? When you're adolescents and shit. And
yes, so
it's saying, hey, you know what? I mean, and I'm not saying people should stay together just to stay together, but I feel like that's a reason the parents get divorced, and so now he's kind of like, well, then maybe he had, you know, a GI Joe at Greg's house, and then maybe he had a GI Joe at home. Or some shit, right? Or whatever the
right.
So it's kind of like, right. Well, why but Covino had like his one GI Joe, where this is my GI Joe. Well, I'm gonna hang on to it. I'm gonna cherish it. You know.
And let me touch on that. Because I've been, you know, my daughter went back and forth, and you know, I was in a relationship where there was 3 kids, and the boy went back and forth, and then you know, even with my ex over there in Fresno, you know, the boy, he goes back and forth, and her daughter and son would go back and forth, and it gets deeper than that, bro. Like, you know, one parent won't let kids take clothes to the other parent's house, and like they got their own set of clothes and their own toys, and like I just imagine what that could do to a little kid, because I've watched it, and they can't understand how mommy or daddy bought them some new clothes and they can't use it on Tuesday because they're going to the other parent's house.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
It's just
dog.
tough.
It sucks. It sucks. And you know what? The worst part about it, dog, is like the kids.
And I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. I'm not going to go buy my kid all kind of nice shit, at the mall or whatnot, and her to forget all that shit at her mama's house. She had certain clothes. And again, I don't know if I'm right or wrong. Leave it in the comments. It's all good. I mean, she doesn't care. We still have a strong ass relationship. But with that being said, I would do the same thing. She had a set of clothes that she wore to mom's, and hopefully that's what she wore back, because I didn't want none of her mom's shit neither.
But
I don't want her mom
feel
texting me and saying, where's her red Nikes at? No, you keep her red Nikes at home over there. Send her back in. She got a couple of clothes outfits that she wears to go over there and come back. Send her in a clean one that was mine.
Yeah. No, that
which is up, but
I mean, it just sucks because it's like, well, what the f- are you supposed to do? I mean, like you said, you don't want that shit. You don't want your shit to get f***ed up, and you don't want to get blamed for shit, right? When she's coming to your pad.
Right. Well, I don't want to keep buying her shit because she takes it over there to the irresponsible parents' house, and again, don't quote me just and my kid on this, but just in general, the parents didn't want to buy stuff. Let's just say one of those kids' fucking dad or mom had a dog that was a puppy, and you send them over their new Jordans, and now they're chewed up.
You know what? Let me fucking bring something up that I think I mentioned on the in-show chat, because Rich likes to bring up Covino's divorce more than anybody, right? And he brings it up on like just about every fucking show, including all the Fox Sports shows. And he fucking he said something about, well, your situation, your ex is difficult, and you're
right. He likes to talk about Covino's ex.
But Doug, one thing that I mentioned, and then Covino read the comment, was I doubt, Doug, that like fucking all these divorces are fucking hunky dory, and that was what I used in my fucking comment, because Rich right now is looking at it from a perspective of him and Sarah, right? They're happy, they're with their kids, everything's fucking 100 with them. You get fucking divorced, there's some hostility there, there's some resentment there. There's Doug. So does Rich think Sarah or himself are gonna be like, hey, guess this didn't work out. All right, see you later. And then fucking Sarah's gonna be all right, Rich, I'll have the kids on Tuesday. See you later. No, dog, there's gonna be so much shit.
Once in my life has that happened. Only once. And that's my current ex from Fresno. And me and her are still hella chill, and we're like best friends. And she rents out my house in Fresno, and she don't pull no funny shit. Every Friday, boy, by like 3 p.m., that shit's in my account. Like every Friday, second Friday payday, half the rent's in the account. Like, we got a great relationship, but that doesn't happen very often. Like, even my kid's mom, bro, that shit took like 20 years just to where they don't, do shit that just makes you like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they change. People change because the game has changed. They're going to behave a certain way when you're boning them in a loving relationship. They're in a whole different thing when someone else is boning them in a loving relationship.
And you're boning someone else.
Because then if that dude's got insecurities, right? Like, maybe you guys are super friendly. And let's just be realistic. This doesn't happen every time, but more often than not, when you're in a relationship with someone who shares children with an ex, if the person who's in that relationship feels like those two are too close, they're going to say something, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do you say that to him? Why do you let him talk to you like that? Or why, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is always an issue with people in relationships who share kids with others.
And that's what trips me out, is that I'm like, Doug, like, and I'm not trying to bag on Rich, because, I mean, he even gave me a shout out on Fox Sports this week, which I thought that was cool. But he mentioned, they were talking about something, and he mentions to Covino, he's like, well, you're making more money than you ever made. And Covino is like, that is far from because they were talking about like money or some shit. And so he's telling Covino, you're making more money than you ever made in your life, or whatever, right? Like right now. And Covino's like, he goes, that is not true. Like, Doug, are you forgetting about like fucking alimony and, child support or whatever the Covino has to pay? I'm like, his shit's already can dwindle down by a shit ton just by that.
Bro.
Even if he is quote unquote making more on a gross standpoint.
BTSB or BT or BT fucking BS.
Yeah. Right.
Before the bullshit.
Exactly. So I'm like, yeah, he might be on paper or whatever, but that don't mean his fucking take. And I'm sure he's doing well.
Line the same.
But exactly. So I'm like, when Rich says shit like that, I'm like, dog, not only the alimony and whatever, I don't know how long you pay alimony and shit, but child support, all that shit, right? On top of that,
why is he always in Covino's checkbook for? Why is he always talking about his fucking scratch?
Doug, but look at this. On top of that, during the pandemic and shit, Rich kept his full-time gig at SXM, you know? So Rich, Doug,
you know what? I'm fired up real quick. I'm pissed. Why is he always in Covino's checkbook? Let me ask you this, bro. How many episodes have we did together now? Over 100, right?
Yeah.
Have I ever asked you off the camera, on the camera, recording, not recording? Have I ever asked you what you make?
I don't think so. I know we've probably mentioned it in like conversations, but never straight up. Hey, what do you
details?
Yeah. Hey, grab the door behind you.
I don't know if you're credit card debt. I don't know what your interest rate is on your vehicle.
Too much.
I don't know how them East Coast cats do it.
Doug, Funky Monkey said, "Did you see what Rich did?" I don't know if she means about this conversation or if she means Rich did something that we're not aware of. So I guess let us know, Funky Monkey.
I just think, I don't know if it's an East Coast thing, a Rich Davis thing,
where they like to talk numbers with each other.
I mean, I don't really give a because the money I've made, if people ever ask me, I'm willing. It's not a personal thing to me to tell it if someone was to ask, right? But it's very disrespectful to throw it down someone's face who you make more than them, right? Yeah. Some people take that shit personal because some people identify through their job and how much money they make.
Yeah, and Doug, the thing is, I feel like if you with anybody, it's just to fucking size you up, right? Because I don't give
which is a sign of insecurity.
I don't give two fucks about what you make or Funky Monkey makes or Luis makes or whatever. But like
I just know she buys all kind of cool shit on the internet and she shows it on her IG page. I don't know how she buys it. I don't care, but she just got cool shit.
And like somebody made a comment on the chat and
follow Funky Monkey on IG.
Somebody made a comment on the in-show chat about Rich because Rich was saying he turned down a gig because he offered. They were like, hey, can you do this on this extra day? And he threw out a number and I don't know if they didn't want to meet it or what. So he's like, cool, then I won't do it. And then somebody in the chat was like, was it more than $500? And I'm like, Doug, why is that any of your fucking business if he can turn down a gig because it was $500 or $40 or 10 grand? Who gives a just listen to his story. Why do you gotta sit here and be like, oh, was it more than $500? Who gives a so why? So you could judge him? If it was less than $500, you're like, oh, or if it was more, you're like, oh, fucking Buxton Rich. I think that's equally as fucked up, you know?
Well, and not only that, I think it's very in business, it lacks class and professionalism.
Yeah.
When you say no over money. Just say you're not interested or you're booked or you can't make the time. Don't tell them you're not gonna fuck them because of the money.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have a going rate, unless you're consistent, you have a going rate. Because if that rate fluctuates and you tell one person no, but then you go ahead and tell someone else yes, you're going to start to get a bad name in business.
Yeah.
Especially if it's at work.
Our rate is only $1. Patreon.com/TASBL. Oh, you know what?
Sign your asses up.
I need to fucking clear something up. Because Funky Monkey helped me out last week. There was a few people that hit me up that were trying to find the Patreon. And they're like, hey, I can't find it. Where is it? And I'm like, are you fucking mental? Patreon.com/TASBL, right? I'm like, it's TASBL, the after show, but later. Like, how fucking
but later.
How fucking hard is that, right? Well, Funky Monkey came in and was like, hey, dick, right? She didn't say it like that because she's nice, but that's how it should have been said. She was like, unless you're like on a fucking browser, like on a computer or even like on your Safari on your phone or whatever, if you're searching it through the app, If you're searching it through the app, you can't find it. So it's a little more of an issue if you're on the app and you're looking for it. So just a heads up, if you are trying to find it or whatever, then just do it through a browser. You should be good. So thanks, Monkey, for the heads up on that. So, Rich,
the heads down, because when you spit that bad information, everyone was ducking and shit.
So Rich was what I was saying is that he during the pandemic wasn't as affected as Covino, right? He didn't go through a divorce. So he's like, well, what do you mean you're not making as much money? Dog, he's been making a shit ton this whole time, right? And it just baffles.
He's also supporting a family too. Well, Covino is, I guess, too, right?
Yeah, he is.
Because he's paying alimony and child support, same shit.
But it's just like
probably more. Covino's probably paying more, to be honest.
So to me, it's just kind of like, I don't know, dog. I just feel like I just feel like there's a lot of shit where he doesn't understand because he's never been there. And it just, I don't know.
It just comes off very judgy. It comes off very entitled. It comes off lacking self-awareness on how you make other people feel when you bring up uncomfortable conversations.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Rich, but that's Rich. That's what Rich does best.
Yeah. But just to be like, yeah, well, yours is more difficult and your ex is difficult. I'm like, I'm pretty sure, dog, like 85-90% of divorces, it, like you said, took 20 years, right? To where you and like one of your exes were on the same page.
Well, and we're not on the same page. Because she still is totally different than me.
Yeah.
It's just we're mature enough to not really have any differences or argue.
Yeah, but it took a number of years to get there. And yes, I feel like
a long time.
I just feel like Rich thinks you're gonna be like, hey, peace. All right, you can keep the car, I'm gonna keep the house. All right, cool, see you Tuesday. Like, I'm like, dog, like, I don't, and you know what though? I think part of it. Chris, go ahead.
Well, you always talk about comedians, so I'm gonna throw out one of my favorite ones because I want to get into that in a minute. Anyways, is Chris Rock, right? He said that when he got divorced, he got alimony, and she went to court saying, I want what I'm accustomed to,
yeah.
Right? And that's where her alimony. That's how she recommended the amount, or requested the amount she requested, because she was accustomed to a certain lifestyle.
Yeah.
And Chris Rock, I don't know if you saw the special. Did you hear did you see that special?
The most recent one?
No, we'll get into that one. Yeah, but no, it was an older one where he goes, well, I'm accustomed to pussy 3 times a week. It's just called pussy payments.
I think if I'm not mistaken, it's the same special where he's like, I'm not moving back with my mama because you ain't in love.
Yep. And so it's up because you got to pay the alimony and shit, but you don't get the shit you were accustomed to.
Yeah. But okay, let's have a conversation about his new special. So
let's do it. Chris Rock, some of those guys that are trendy right now and popular. I still haven't seen Bert Kreischer episode. I still haven't seen. I do want to see Barbosa. I saw clips on TikTok and whatnot, but I like Barbosa. But I like Chris Rock. There's no doubt. I always have liked Chris Rock, and I thought this new one was it was the shit.
Yeah. No,
he got down. He broke Will Smith down, and you can get into that more than you want. But the one point that he made that I think let everything else fly was these two stupid people went on TV and interviewed each other on cheating, and then what'd you expect was going to happen?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Then, and you know what, dog? It's like he wouldn't even have gone there if all this shit didn't happen, right? At first, Will laughing with this fucking Will Smith laugh.
No, it's all Jada.
And then Jada gives him the look, and then he has to walk up like, oh, I got to defend her. I'm going to look like a bitch. So it all stems from fucking her to begin with. And the fact
she's evil.
Doug, but I loved that Chris went fucking hard in the paint on that, as far as he was like, and it's funny because he still gives Will the benefit of the doubt. He's like, you ain't mad at me. You know, he was like, I'm not the one
Go
ahead.
He said he got summertime still ringing in his ears after the smack. He's like, I was Pookie. He was Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. Oh, and then it was funny because then when he talked about Will Smith and he's watching videos of him getting his ass beat, like on movies and shit, he's like, he's all rooting for the other one now. Like, you know, hit him a little bit harder.
Hit him again.
It's fucking funny because I'm like, yeah, Doug, it's just, it was real. That's why I liked it. I fucking loved it because
I think he set a good tone too, because you know what? Like, God forbid I'm a comedian and I got a platform and someone ever fucking burns me. That's you're gonna hear about it, right?
Yeah.
That alone should keep people straight with Chris Rock here going forward.
Yeah. No, that was, and it was like, Doug, he fucking, I don't know. Oh, you know what though? I want to talk about fucking people being fucking morons. So, if you're a Carl and you were part of this conversation, then I'm fucking sorry, but this is just how I feel. People on the Carl page were saying, I'm like, Doug, are people not familiar with the way somebody puts together a fucking stand-up routine? They fucking try out shit. They tour. Yeah. They fucking work shit out. They work it in clubs. They work it in small clubs. They work it in...
doing that right now for applications on my next girlfriend.
So they fucking, right, you work it out in a smaller venue, in a bigger venue. You see, right, hey, how does this shit hit, right? You can work on this shit for, typically it's a year or two at this point, right? So, Doug, people on the Carl page were like, oh, I saw most of this shit when I saw him on tour with Chappelle. No shit. You think he's going to fucking write a whole different hour? An hour. Do you know how long a fucking hour is to write in stand-up? Let alone one fucking joke, right? One fucking joke, right? But you want this tour with one fucking hour. Look, if he goes on tour with that hour now, okay, that usually, from what I know about the comedy world, after they release a special, they scrap that hour, right? No more touring with it. You're fucking starting fresh. And for people to be like, well, I saw this shit 6 months ago. No shit. Are you a fucking moron? Do you not know how comedy works? Do you not know that they have to work out the fucking jokes? Like, do you remember Chris Rock? He had a joke about, there's a difference between, what did he say? Black people and then N-words, right? Was the fucking shit. That. And he said he had to work out that shit for like a year and a half. It was one of the funniest bits, the way he talks about it. And because it was crafted, right? That fucking routine, that fucking bit took a year and a half to sit here and you know what? This shit's not working. Okay, let me take this out. Let me put this in.
I think there's a general misconception that
people are fucking stupid.
They expect every time that they're on stage that you're going to hear new material.
Yeah.
And that's not the way it works.
No, you know what?
They don't write a skit for every show they do. That's not, they usually rock one. Don't they usually go on tour and rock the same shit for like 6 months?
Doug, I saw Tom Segura and his shit was it was funny as like maybe
in relation to Tom Selleck.
Yeah, they're brothers. Well, I saw him and my buddy was gonna go because we saw him in Irvine. Then my buddy was gonna see him in Phoenix, and so we were talking about the bits and shit before my buddy went to go see him in Phoenix, and I was like, he does this shit, and this will probably be because Tom's gonna record a Netflix special really soon. So some of this shit I'm sure is gonna be on there. Where there's like one joke he talks about his kid in the bath or something, and or shower or something. There's something where it's like it is a fucking dirty ass joke routine, whatever bit. And so I was telling my buddy, I was like, oh yeah, he does this and this, and then so when he went to watch him, he was like, oh yeah, he did that shit. Oh man, it's crazy, this and this. And we were even like, I don't know if that shit's gonna make it to his Netflix special because it was crazy. Duh, we weren't like, oh, he did that joke there too, because like we're not fucking morons, right? So for somebody to say, oh, I watched that on Netflix, but I saw it 6 months ago, is that trying to be a flex that you saw him with Chappelle? when I saw him with Chappelle when I was in the third row. Like, are you trying to flex on us with that fucking stupid comment?
Well,
or are you fucking just that stupid?
And I got a question. Tell me you can't laugh every time you watch a good comedy routine, even if it's the same one. The Chris Rock one that you spoke of, we could throw that on right now, and I'm gonna laugh just like I did when I first saw the shit because it's good and it's funny.
Yeah.
Jokes
New
aren't
pussy
like
can't cook.
Well, right, and it's like with a good song, right? Don't you like some songs play for the rest of your life?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't there some comedy bits that we're always gonna reference because they were just that good?
Doug, fucking Bert Kreischer, he fucking tours fucking millions of fucking times a year. And one thing people like him to do is close his show with his fucking machine story, right? He told a story on fucking Rogan. Rogan was like, hey, you should do this shit on stage. So he worked it out on stage. And now people know the fucking story. They know the bit. But they're like, I remember we saw Gabriel Iglesias 1 year.
Right. Fluffy?
Yeah, Fluffy. This was in 2010. So I'm dating myself, right? So we saw him back in the day. And he was like, in his routine or whatever, somebody was like, hey, like, do some of your old shit or whatever. And he was like, he was like, do you guys really want that or whatever? And they were like, yeah. Even though we've seen it before, Doug, it's their delivery, right? It's their fucking emphasis on certain words. It's their fucking gestures, their face, their everything. So for you to be like, I saw this shit 6 months ago while you're fixing your tie because you're a fucking jackass.
Well, because even Chappelle, a lot of it's in his body languages again and his tone, the way he squeaks his voice when he's trying to fucking emphasize a point. It's not just always the joke. Mm-hmm. Messy Marv was the king of that in underground rap. Mm-hmm. If you break his lyrics down, I mean, he had a lot of dope shit. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot where they were cool. But it's the way he delivered them, bro. It's the body language, it's the tone, it's the voice, it's the emphasis. A lot of times it's in the message and how it's delivered. It's not just the words.
Yeah. No, 100%. There was, you reminded me of something when you said that.
There's real quick, because even Fluffy guy, he goes, hey, that stupid shit's funny. And he ain't even saying nothing.
Yeah.
When he does it, it's funny. I'm like, this stupid. Why is he even squealing like a chihuahua?
Even his like little sound effects and shit, where he's like, "I got in the car," or whatever, right? You're like, what the? Or he's like, so I show up to Felipe's house, like he's telling a story, he's painting a picture, but people are like, oh, and this is it. It's just
because when he goes. And he does his little crash. Shit's funny, bro.
Exactly.
I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah, I just can't get over people. And what I took it as, these people aren't fans of comedy. These are just very casual fans. Maybe they just want to be in the loop with shit. So,
right.
Fluffy did a joke at my college. Fluffy, Funky Monkey says that I've never heard him do on any other show. That was pretty cool. And that is cool. That's one cool thing that if you go to a live show, they might do shit that you're not going to fucking see anywhere else. Like that Tom Segura one. That shit was raunchy as fuck. And I'm like, dog, I don't know if that shit will even be cleared by Netflix or something, you know? But people that are just like these casual fans and shit or whatever. Yeah, man, I'm like, are people just not aware of how comedy works or whatever? I don't know. That might be the problem. So if I called you a jackass.
I think they're just too spoiled is what it is.
Yeah.
We just live in an impulse world with TikToks and like, come on, more. Gimme.
Dog, I found this account on Twitter. Oh my goodness. It's called like uncensored viral videos or some shit.
Right.
Dog,
what is it?
They have the craziest shit ever, right? So there's this bitch, right? Dog, there's this here, let me see if I can find it real quick because I could just show you. There's this chick and she's like blowing this dude, so I'm gonna have to cut it. It's kind of
like,
I
don't want to watch that.
No, but okay, I'll just tell you about it. She's blowing this dude, but
thanks.
It's like a grainy video or whatever. But she's blowing this dude. You know when a alligator or like a crocodile, I don't know which one it is.
Okay.
You know when they can like get a hold of something and they keep spinning and spinning and spinning to like kill their prey or whatever?
Yes.
Okay, so That's what this chick does. She's blowing this dude, and I don't know if he like
Go.
I don't know if he like and like throws his shoulder or what. And she starts spinning like that. Like it is the funniest shit ever. So you're right. We are spoiled, dog. We have so much new shit all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, my bad, dog. I'll let you get into
I got
shit.
another thing I got to get into, man. This is really passionate to me.
All right.
And but back to that Chris Rock thing too, real quick. And EJ Reed had the balls to say, "Don't spoil it." Did you hear that part?
Nuh-uh. Oh yeah,
bro,
I did. Yeah, I did.
I'm over that shit. You know what? I'm over that. You know what? I at this point, you're gonna have to turn into a little kid. If I'm talking about something you don't want to hear, my advice to you is to do this.
Exactly.
La 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 la, and or use earmuffs, because you know what? You can't expect every. It really pissed me off. I got fired up and passionate about it when they pointed it out, because think about it. How many thousands of listeners are on there, right? And let's just say 20 haven't seen it. And the other thousands don't get to talk about it for you guys. Like, you think that you're so fucking important. Like, life, I get it. Maybe you're busy, you worked late, you're tired after dinner. I get it. You didn't see it. But how selfish is it for you to expect everyone else to stop the show for you because life caught you, and you couldn't make time to watch it?
Yeah.
But why can't we enjoy it? Why?
Exactly. Tune out for a few minutes.
Because, bro, people who like that shit, you know what they like even more? Talking about it with someone else who shares their passion. So you're going to deny everyone the conversation because you're a tomato and you haven't caught up?
Yeah.
No, catch up.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's just like, I just trip out, dog, that, and I understand where Covino and Rich are coming from, where they kind of like baby those people. Because they're it's their fucking livelihood. So people are going to drop left and right. I mean, I can see if it's going to affect your pocket, you might be a little more.
But are they going to really unsubscribe? Just turn it down.
They might, dog. People are fucking bitches, I'm not saying EJ Reed will, because I know he's a diehard. But think about, dog, there's people that
and they need the business, and I know that everyone wants the subscribers, and I get it. But to you that or would do that, you know how selfish that is? Like, we don't now get to engage in something that we want to engage in each other with. We're listeners. We bought into the Covino Rich family. You're going to deny the family an opportunity to share shit they're passionate about with Covino or Rich in the chat and other people who are passionate about it for your own selfish shit. That's good. People don't do shit like that. And then you don't threaten to take your business away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just horrible shit. You're a crummy individual.
Yeah.
Sleazeball. Take it from me.
You know what?
Dick.
That, Chris Rock said something in the special where he said, people ask him why he didn't fight back and shit. And he said, because, right? They always said, you never fight in front of white people. And it's so fucking true, dog, when you think about it, because I'm not, dog, I'm not even like, I'm not saying I'm like Mr. fucking Vato Loco and shit, but it does cross your mind. Like, if you're arguing and I don't, people see me and they may think I'm white. I don't know. But just in my head, knowing that I'm fucking Mexican, I'm like, there might be times where I'm going to get loud or something and we're somewhere in a public place or something. And I'm like, there is a part of you that is like, I don't want to let my people down, Because you don't know, like there is, and like I said, people might look at me, because like one time we went into, me, Johnny, and a couple of people went in somewhere, and I said something about being Mexican, or they looked at us a certain way or something, and Johnny was like, "Dog, shut the f-. They think you're white." So I'm like, that may be the case, right? That may be the case, but in my mind, I feel a certain way. So I completely felt like. Okay, I'll give you an example. So I told you I've been working on knocking this wall down at my mom's pad, right? So I had a big ass fucking sombrero on, like, to fucking, like, for the sun, right?
What, are you outside, bro, or what?
So yeah. So I had my fucking lokes on, and then this dude walks by and he's like, "Hey," like, he's like, "Hace bloque," or some shit, and I was like, "Huh?" I was like, nah. I was like, this is my mom's pad. He's like, oh, he was asking me if I laid brick or whatever but I was like, no, I'm just fucking helping out my mom. I'm not like, this ain't what I do.
Pipe.
Well, good for you. Well, Doug, I was fucking tired, right? I was so fucking exhausted. This was like last weekend. And so I sat down for a minute. And I swear to God, you know the fucking little statues that they have of like the Mexican with a sombrero, like sitting under a tree or some shit? And I'm like, and so, Doug, that crossed my mind because across the street from my mom's house is a church, right? So I'm like fucking tired, and I'm like sitting there, and I'm like,
you pray after?
I'm taking a break, Doug, and I'm just like so fucking tired. And for a second, it crossed my mind. I'm like, man, some of these people getting to the church or a car driving by, especially I was all covered up, right? So it's not even like you could really see my face or anything. I'm like, they're going to see a fucking Mexican sitting with his sombrero, like taking a break, looking fucking lazy, you know? I swear to God,
lazy. That's great.
That crossed my mind for a split second. So when Chris Rock says this, don't fight in front of white people, dog, I've never been black before, you know? I would like to have been, but never have had the opportunity. So, I mean, just coming from a minority's perspective, that's how I feel, you know? I agree with them 100%.
Well, I'll give you a perspective, and I'm an Italiano, which in my opinion is still kind of a minority because they used to hate the fuck out of us back in the day, and ancestors did come over on boats too. But with that being said, I think you just anyone to any, like we talked about in the last episode, if you got any kind of game, you know not to do stupid shit because they're the ones that are most likely going to tell.
Yeah.
Everyone should be on good behavior in front of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When there's an accident or someone saw something or witnessed it, more often than not, it's a white person on there giving the fucking account of what happened.
Yeah. And I got
you know what I mean? You should all be on good behavior.
I got to thank a few of those white people because one time I kind of ran over a homeless dude, right, in my Titan, and they all pulled over to give their statements to the police, and there's 3 different people, and I never got charged with anything, not even a fucking ticket, because they had
they'll do that too.
Everybody's report was like this dude was jaywalking in between cars, so this couldn't have seen him, you know? So when they say that shit, dog, I thought that was like a bottle of vodka or something. I was like, this guy is going hard as
nah, it's water.
But so sometimes people when they you know, pull over and they get their nose in other people's business, it's not the worst thing in the world, you know?
Oh yeah, because they got time. They will give a statement. They got all the time in the world. Yeah. They'll reenact it if you let them.
Doug, I told you I really didn't have shit, and I can't shut the up. It's funny. Okay, go ahead. What do you have, Doug?
I got a good one. The fucking Rich eats edibles. The anxiety stimulator. Fucking Covino. Didn't Covino get a little anxiety and he called them edibles?
Yeah.
And Rich said you're not supposed to do it by yourself, and it's like getting buzzed without friends. I couldn't relate to him one bit.
Doug, I thought about you during this conversation because I agreed with Rich, but I go, I bet El Cucuy, because every time I talk to you, Doug, and we're like recording or whatever, it's you and Chapo chilling, you know?
Bro, are you getting high to be cool? Are you drinking to be cool? Or are you doing it because you want to relax and that's what you like to do?
That's the thing. If I have an edible and I'm by myself, I get in my own head. I start tripping.
Just don't eat too much.
That's my problem.
Me too.
I don't.
Me too.
Yeah.
I do too. So my thing is you eat 10 milligrams or less. No, you only ate the smallest dose that they got. And if you get into your head a little bit, you just go and get under the covers and try to clear your brain and go to sleep because you didn't eat too much.
Yeah.
But like even for me drinking beer, it became a routine when I was at Albertsons, which carried over to when I was living, you know, in Northern California. And when I went back to Food Max and carried on to Save Mart. In the grocery industry, more often than not, your grocery clerks get faded after work. Yeah. It just is what it is. You're busting your ass. You're dealing with people all day, especially if you're on a team. So when we were young on Night Crew, we would get faded every day after work. when we got promoted to close the store, we'd do it in the parking lot after work. We'd drink in the parking lot, get off at 1, bro. Sometimes we'd be there till 4 or 5 in the morning drinking beer. And police would, back in the day, police would roll in there, and as long as they saw the aprons on, they didn't say shit. And so, but that carried over. Like, even right now, if I want to catch a buzz, do I not do it because I don't have a buddy to do it with?
No, see, for me, I definitely would, and I have by myself, right? A majority of the time, right? Not a lot, but
because it's not just social for some people. Some people like to get a buzz.
Not at all. But if I like, there's been times where I had something, and I'm like, oh, this was a mistake. Like I told you, dog, about that time I heard that little girl in my hallway.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Scared the out of me.
Yep.
That's the time where I'm like, if I'm chilling, like say me and Luis, we're chilling, watching UFC fights or whatever, then it's cool. But then I'm right there, dog. I start, and that's my problem, is that like, they've always said, if you don't smoke, you don't whatever, don't do it with people that fucking do it on a regular, right? Because you're going to try to get up to their level.
Fucking attack because,
right. Well, so, but I did this shit to myself a couple of times where I'm like, oh, well, I'm not really feeling nothing. I could have another fucking gummy or this or that. And then next thing you know, dog, I'm all, what the fuck was that?
Let me ask you this. I got the question of the day for you.
All right, what is it?
Who are some big stoners that we know, public stoners? Seth Rogen,
Cheech and Chong.
Cheech and Chong. Name some stoners for me. Some stoners.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think they wait for someone to get stoned? You don't think they're firing up 8, 10, 12 times a day? They're firing up before they take a shit. They're firing up before they take a shower. They're firing up when they get home. They're firing up before they leave the house. They're firing up before they fucking grub. I mean, they say Snoop has like 75 blunts a day rolled from him from a professional roller. I don't think having a companion to do it with is the fucking first mandatory thing.
I don't think
stoners get stoned all day. They don't worry about who's there. It's fun. Yeah, you enjoy it and smoking with someone and relaxing, but that's not the criteria.
Yeah, no, I feel you 100%. I feel you 100%. The only thing is, I'm stupid when it comes to it. So I more often than not can just get all paranoid
right
by
now,
myself.
And there ain't no one here.
Yeah, you're not all paranoid,
I
are
need
you?
Rich Davis to hold my hand.
Yeah, sometimes I do.
Rich, you want to come be my buddy? Rich, you want to eat gummies?
Oh,
come on, man.
Yeah,
come on, man. That was one of them. I got a couple more too. And I get it for Covino though, and he's right. So I also want to end that by saying I get it. If you have a low tolerance, and I can totally see how Covino reacted the way that he did because I've done that. Like I eat a gummy every night now for bed, and it helps me sleep. It truly does. But I had to build a tolerance to get there. So what I would do is take that 10 milligram one, and at first maybe cut it into 4s because you're not going to feel 2.5. You're just not. It is what it is, but it will help you sleep. And then if you build up to like 0.5, you know what I mean? And maybe work your way up to the 10 milligrams, go, you know what I'm saying? Cut it in corners, boom. So eat a quarter of one, work your way up, then eat a half. And then you won't feel like that because I never liked that either, bro. I don't like to get edible high. I'm not the dude that eats 4 or 5 edibles because I like the feeling of it. So I get it. Those I'm not eating by myself. Like if I was going to get loaded off edibles, I would absolutely have to be with someone, but not drinking beer or smoking weed.
This is completely off topic, but last week, our episode, the audio was shitty because I didn't hit record on like anything. So I think it was just recording off of my computer audio or whatever. So my audio was shit. Yours sounded good. But I'm like, dog, you know what fucking sucks about that is that episode did really well. YouTube, it did okay. Listens, it had like more listens than usual. But it's funny because I'm like, man, it sucks because like I feel like this one's gonna come out okay, just like the audio and video and all that. But I'm like, it sucks when some shit happens like that where one like gets some traction and you're like, but it's kind of like that's not our best product, you know, like, and I don't want people to hear that and then think, oh yeah, this is hell, because like we've gotten some new listeners over the last week and I'm like, man, I
Shout out to
hope
those guys.
I'm like one of them is a dude that's here in town. I'll give him a shout out. His name's Jordan Atondo, and he does stand-up comedy. He actually opened up for Wine Shank in Congdon. So so he just started following our shit. And then so when I see that, I'm like, oh, I hope this dude went back and like listened to a couple of episodes, didn't just check out this shit, because I'm like, this ain't our best shit. And see, that's where like sometimes I'm like, do I just not put it out, or
no, you put it out,
or you know what I'm saying? So I mean, I did still put it out, and it was cool because it got some traction. But I'm just like crossing my fingers, like, man, I hope people go back. You know?
Hey, well, keep that energy and remember those results the next time you're contemplating it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because you put it out anyways, and you got better than anticipated response.
Yeah, no, for sure. But it's just kind of like, damn, that ain't our best work. Like, it's like you get out of the pool.
Was it chafing your thighs?
Nah.
Did it make your thighs chafe?
Nah. You heard about that or what?
Yeah.
Doug, mine never. And I'm a big dude. I'm like, why that shit ain't never happened to me. Yeah. When I was a kid, it did. I'll be honest. When I was a kid, it did. But as an adult, I'm like,
I think when I was heavier, when I was at my heaviest, it did for sure.
Really? Doug, I'm kidding.
But I wasn't wearing boxer briefs neither. I was wearing boxers.
Oh, that's probably the issue. Yeah.
I was wearing regular boxers. So yeah, that shit, when I was bigger, I was like, fuck. You're like, it's weird.
And my problem when I was a kid.
That's because I was too fat, bro. That's because I was too fat. That was my own fault.
Me too as a kid.
I had no business putting on that much weight, and that's the result of it. So.
Doug, I was a kid and I was fat and I was wearing whitey tighties. So I was fucking the inside of my legs.
What age, bro, did you switch to the boxeroos?
I'll tell you. In 5th or 6th grade, I got my first pair of actual boxers, and I remember because they were Mickey Mouse, and I remember I was like, yeah, Mickey Mouse boxers.
You got fucking Mickey Mouse boxers in 5th grade?
They were my first boxers. I was like, yeah, these shits are dope. So hey, I don't even like Mickey, Doug, but my mom bought them, and I was like, cool. I was stoked they were boxers. I didn't give a what was on them. So I
had the fucking banana, the grape, the apple, and the fucking whatever was in the Fruit of the Loom.
No, I remember it was this one pair of boxers, and I was like, yeah, Doug. I was like, I'm gonna put these on. I'm gonna be a fucking man. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, hella stoked. Boy. I was like, yeah. And I was going to put deodorant on.
You could walk around in them and shit.
Didn't even have
around your boxers.
Didn't even have no fucking armpit hair. I have a fucking story about armpits, dog, that I could tell you. It's fucking hilarious. But anyway, dog, what else you got?
Man, I had a recent interaction with someone, and I kind of want to before I tell you about the interaction, I want to ask your opinion, and then I'll tell you how I responded to this person. Okay. So, do you think that constantly changing is good, or if you find a certain way that you're good at something, you just do that for a long time? What's your thought?
I'll give you a real life example. So
I was going to give you one too.
Okay, well, I started this new position at work, and it's called missionary.
Downward dog.
See, we both had our stupid joke. But I started this new position at work, and a few months ago or whatever, and so
positionary.
I've been learning these new processes and shit. Well, on Friday, I was doing this. I usually don't work Fridays, but I came in for a couple of hours just to like do some training and shit. And I was working with this person, and she was like, okay, this is the way it's done. She was like, it was something that like a process that I created or whatever. She's like, feel free to do it your own way. This is just the way. And I told her, I go, I'll learn the process and I'll do it. If after that I find a better way to do it or a more, efficient way, then I'll do it then. But I'm not going to come in and try to innovate and shit when I don't even know the process yet. I want to figure it out. So I think both are good. I think it's cool to always innovate, always try to look for new reasons and shit. But if something's working, why are you going to fuck with it? So it's kind of right off the bat. I don't know where you're going with it, but that's just kind of my initial thoughts.
Well, I wouldn't. I think so. Someone made a comment to me. They're like, "We've been doing this the same way for 20 years and it works." And my comment was, "Well, show me your fucking phone." Oh, I bet 20 years ago you didn't have a calculator, flashlight, leveler, voice recorder, notepad, and all the bullshit on there, did you? Well, you're still hitting play on the answering machine. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a cordless phone with a big old metal antenna that kept getting broke, and you stuck a wire coat hanger in there. And the reason I say that is because, and I looked at him and I said, I don't think that's something to be proud of. What successful company out there is still doing shit the same 20 years later? Do you think 20 years ago McDonald's was frying their fucking burgers up the same way they are now? No.
Yeah.
Do you think Apple was doing the same shit? They've had how many new products that have changed everyone's life in the last 20 years? Computers, they don't stay the same. Every time something comes out, it's the new model, it's the new version, it's the Roomba 3.9. Everything always constantly tries to improve. And I think even like grandma's cookies, I don't give a how good that recipe is.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that there's not one out there that's better.
Yeah.
Straight out. I don't care if it's the shit you grew up on and they would win 8 out of 10 contests. If there's a recipe out there that'll win 10 out of 10, unless the one is just dear to you and your heart, there's always, go to the grocery store. What's the ratio even in the last 10 years from self-checkouts to being 2 or 4? Now most Walmarts, it's half the fucking store.
Yeah.
Everything changes.
Yeah.
Cars change. Everything changes.
Yeah, no,
People change.
I feel you, because one of the things that I have is like a quick comparison is, when years ago I was working with my homie Johnny, right, and he had a tile company. His grandfather had been doing tile for like in 317 years, so but Johnny was real good about looking up new shit, ways to be more efficient. He was like, got very obsessed with, no, I'm going to do this shit quicker. I'm going to do it more efficient. I'm going to do it faster. I'm going to innovate. I'm going to do this. And his grandpa would have comments and shit about this or that. And I've been doing this shit 317 years. And he's like, that's cool, but that doesn't mean shit to me, because I've been doing this shit for 10 years myself. And I've been improving the process. And so how are you going to tell me, yeah, you got 40 years of experience, but that don't mean that we're going to do it that same way? When his grandpa started, dog, they were laying 8x8 tiles, right? Which turned into the 10x10 or 12x12, right? Which became like the standard. We were laying 3-foot long large format tile, or 16x16. Dog, if you fuck up that and it's not level, you're going to have lippage. It's going to be. So times change. You change with the times. And so you can't just automatically go to, oh yeah, that shit's been done for 20 years. We're going to keep it that way. You can't do that shit. Like you said, you wouldn't even have a phone 20 years ago.
Well, not only kids didn't, for sure. Porn wasn't accessible by anyone with a phone, right? You had to know some parents that had a kinkiness, and they had some VHS tapes, and they didn't know you knew where they were at. And even especially with this was like a physical activity. It was like production. And look at even the NBA and the NFL. People are bigger and stronger, right? They're able to physically accomplish more. So even like on a physical task, and on top of that, how many stupid ass, dumbass TikTok videos have you seen? And they're like, "Oh, I've been doing it this way the whole time. Are you kidding me?" And someone shows you a trick you just never knew about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You ain't Ponce de Leon. You didn't travel the globe in every village in every way and see how everyone does shit. You know what I'm saying? What makes you the alpha and the omega? You don't know everything, right?
No, 100%.
Straight out.
100%.
And so I think,
why were they giving you so much, why were they giving you such a hard time? Because you had a better idea and they were like intimidated?
I just was watching. I can't really get into details, but I was watching Organized Chaos, and from my background, obviously in retail, I've worked at in a big box store. I've worked at little, Ralph's that display everything and images everything. You know, I've worked at all these stores, and so I've seen how everybody does shit. And there's multiple ways to do shit, but what you are doing ain't none of them.
Yeah.
You guys are just wasting time, and you think you're just shit. And I'm just, what's Mac Dre say? You're a jokey joke. We're laughing at you, dog.
It's true. It's true, 100%. Because Doug, like you said, you have this fucking background and shit. And even if they know a little bit about it, they don't know the extent of it. So for them to fucking to dismiss whatever you have or the idea you have is stupid.
Bro, never have I ever been in any way, shape, or form where multiple people are going through the same product, picking different orders.
Yeah.
Usually, if you're going to pick an order for someone, you help them pick their order. You move from one order to the next. You don't fucking jumble. That's how shit gets fucked up.
Yeah.
Just is what it is.
Yeah.
So if you ever say, I've been doing this shit for how many fucking years, I'm just going to look at you with a fucking stank face. I'm going to be like,
yeah,
you're telling me too much. You're telling me you don't want to change. Because what you should say is, hey, I've been doing it this way for a really long time and it's always worked. What do you have?
Yeah. You know, and that's honestly
not dismissive.
That's one good thing about my new boss. She's so fucking cool about that, dog. She's been doing accounting for over 30 years. And she is like, hey, if you have a fucking idea, I'm all for it. Like, let's fucking roll. And I've had people in the past that were supervisors.
But you have to be good leaders do that because that's 100%. How they constantly improve processes. If you're going to go and get someone and you're going to put them on your team and unless you're just being a scumbag and you just want to work them for the physical attributes or whatever. But if you're building a team and you're choosing that team, you have the ability to choose those individuals. You should respect those ideas because that's why you brought them there.
100%. 100%, dog. You nailed it.
You know, I mean, I don't know. I've even in my retail career, bro, you think every move I got that makes me, you know, qualified or skilled in that setting, I learned most from watching other people.
Yeah.
Straight out. Yeah, I came up with so much shit on my own and I did. And I developed a lot of skill sets on my own. But a lot of the shit I learned from watching somebody else.
Yeah, real quick, Doc, I want to give a couple of shout outs. Again, we have Damien, Funky Monkey, Carl Reinhardt, Louise, Homer, and James, Joey in Texas. Let me see. Homer. Columbo. Yeah, Doc Simpson. You know?
Yeah, Columbo.
And
shout out Bo.
Shout out Bo. Shout out Tipton. Shout out all the regulars, all the people that come and hang. Jordan Natondo, I told you, he's a up and coming comedian, cool dude.
Stickman, check him out, Stickman.
Doug, yeah. I have one more thing before we go, but do you have anything else you wanted to get to?
Nope.
All right, Doug. I had the weirdest dream. Like, I don't know why I wrote this down because I had this dream like 6 months ago. So, Doug,
okay.
It's funny. So I had a dream that I had a fetish.
Come on, Martin.
Doug, I had a dream that I had a fetish for armpits. I know. Why? I don't know, Doug.
Why?
I don't know. In my dream, I was these bitches, and then maybe I'll word that a little differently. In my dream, I was having familiar relations, and I was just licking armpits, Doug. What the fuck was going on?
Or what?
I don't know what was going on in my head. Oh, you know what though, Doug? You know where I think it stems from? I think like when I was a kid, like 7th, 8th grade or some shit, like like if a chick like was fixing her ponytail or something, and you saw like a little bit of fucking like armpit stubble and shit, you're like, ooh, because that's how I was, right?
I was too. I was
so it's gone into fucking adulthood, right? To where the same shit, like if you're talking to a chick and she's like, oh yeah, and then we went and she's fixing her hair, you're like, ugh, you're like,
yeah. But you know what's crazy about that though? When I was young though, if you saw any La Bouche, it was all good.
Yeah, of course.
Armpit hair, no good. If they were in a bathing suit and they had a La Bouche coming out, it was like, ooh.
I know where that leads to, right? And But it was
unless
funny
she had a happy trail, then that was kind of gross.
I think it was kind of like, and I don't know why this why I had dreamt this like a few months ago or whatever, but it was just funny because I'm like, I remember there's specific times where I remember where I was like, ooh, really? Like for real? Like it kind of reminds me of that meme where it says nobody and then it says Mexican chicks and it has a girl like this with a hairy ass arm. And I'm like, dog, I see so many Mexican chicks where I'm like, hey, and I guess for people that live in California and shit.
If you like Mexican chicks, that happens.
Maybe in California it's like Armenians and shit, but I'm like, you can't take care of that shit. And I think that's kind of what goes through my head with the armpit stubble. So I think, I don't know, maybe Jesus.
I don't know though. I got to give you perspective. Like, as long as it's not too crazy, because with Hispanic chicks, they all have a little bit of hair right there. They're just some more than others. And I think as long, you know, they might have a little hair right there, bro. But the cucuy smells like roses.
Yeah.
I mean,
no. And that's the thing. It's like you said,
trade.
If it's like a little thin or whatever, you're like, all right, cool. You know,
yeah.
But I mean, I would prefer for it not to be there, you know?
I don't, but I wouldn't want them to wax it though, because I don't know if you ever know a chick that's waxed her shit like that or waxed her lip or some shit like that. That shit is like sandpaper when it grows back. I'd rather be a little bit of hair there that don't make me get a Band-Aid than shave your shit. And you're like, ow.
Dog, I got to give a shout out to a chick from high school who she was ghetto as in high school. I'm not going to give her name. She was ghetto as in high school. She actually, after high school, she ended up becoming a nurse.
Or sandpaper.
Dog, and she turned herself into a baddie. She was like, kind of a little flubbish, and she got bad and she became a nurse. Well, anyway, in high school, Doug, I remember she didn't really have that problem with like, she wasn't like very hairy, right? But I remember one time she was talking to somebody and they had mentioned something about, they're like, oh, you really don't have like a lot of hair or whatever. She's like, no, I don't. But she was like, you know what I'll do? She was like, I'll bleach it. Right? So if there was any hair, you couldn't really tell.
Mom used to do that on my kid's mom's mom used to do that shit on her lip.
It's funny because it really did thin it out and it was like, looked more like peach fuzz than anything. So I'm like, oh shit, dog. I'm like that. And we were in high school. It was my junior year of high school. I never forget. And I'm like, look at this chick over here. She is innovative. Bleaching her shit, dog, making it look a little thinner. So even if, you know,
it's better than shaving it.
It was cool.
Because unless you're going to get on like unless you're going to get on a wax program, right? Like if you are disciplined enough, because once it starts growing in with that little, you know, on chicks, it's like a 3 o'clock shadow. That shit ain't cute.
Yeah.
You're better off just to have the little hairs there or bleach them, like you said.
Yeah. But anyway, Doug, I don't have a whole lot more. Do you have anything else?
After show, but bleach.
After show, but bleacher. After show, but armpits. Yeah, Doug, there was a lot of shit we covered today. If there's anything, you know, make sure you guys are sharing the Patreon. Make sure you even just share the normal show, AfterShowBL, across all social media. If you're going to share the Patreon, patreon.com/TASBL, the after show, but later. I was like, dog, why didn't I make that the fucking at shit slogan on all of our shit? TASBL.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm like, we're too invested into AfterShowBL, so that's where we're at. AfterShowBL across all social media.
And do like Spot, you know, make sure you spread cheeks, not sheets. Now, they don't have to be different kinds of cheeks like that, but spread cheeks. Try to let go of the sheets because they'll give you a headache.
Doug, do you have your friends? I know we're going to go, but do you have your friends that hit you up with audio messages?
Yeah, I do.
My buddy.
More than that.
Huh?
Is the random TikToks.
Well, my buddy fucking.
Or Instagram.
Actually, my buddy Luis hit me up right as we're recording, with like how many 5 audio messages, and it's funny because I do the same thing. We go back and forth with audio messages and shit.
I do some,
and but I'm like,
I'll shoot some to Miggy for sure or Mito.
I'm looking though, and I'm like, dog, I'm like, what the is this about? Because there's 5 audio messages, and it could be about anything. You know, when you're homies, it could be like,
yes,
dog, my fucking dog ran away, or it could be like, dog, John Jones came back, or it could be anything, you know. So I'm just
staring in the line, and there's some cheeks in front of me right now.
Exactly, it could literally be anything, dog. So And looking forward to checking those out. So After Show BL across all social media. It's your boys D, El Cucuy. You look like he has something to say.
I want to give a reminder to people too.
What's up?
I personally have been trying to cut back my online screen time, right? Just trying to stay off the social, not completely, but just, I don't want to be on it more than like a half hour, 45 minutes a day. So please keep that in mind before you send me your video. I'm already on a time limit. All right. I'm already timing myself. It better be good and keep it to 1.
There you go. After Show But Later, episode number 171. We will see you guys in episode number 172. Thank you guys for joining us. That joined us live. We appreciate it. And keep spreading the word about the Patreon and just the show in general. We will see you guys later.
On the road to the riches, cause it's all about the paper. Now buckle up your seats and prepare for the journey. Let the music ease your soul, grab a spliff and start burning. Relax with us and take a trip to the heavens. And come and spend a day in the 757.